I've got a quick question for you, alright? I wanna hear your thoughts, I wanna know what's on your mind. I've got a quick question for you, alright? The answer's not important, I'm just glad that we could talk tonight. So what's your favourite? How did you get? When will I be remembered? Was it ever? Where did all the violins are? Oh, forget it. Sorry, movie, Daniel O'Brien. Two best friends and comedy writers. If there's an answer, they're gonna find it. I think you'll have a great time here. I think you'll have a great time here.
So, hello again and welcome to another episode of Quick Question with Soren and Daniel, the podcast where two best friends and comedy writers ask each other questions and give each other answers. I am one half of that podcast, senior writer for Last Week Tonight with John Oliver, author of How to Fight Presidents with Daniel O'Brien, and once again, Bike Boy Daniel O'Brien, joined as always by my co-host, Mr. Soren Bowie. Soren, say hello.
Hey everybody, I'm the low energy guy.
God almighty, you waited to be introduced to take a sip of coffee.
Yeah.
Or
That
chocolate
shows-
milk. I don't know what you got in there.
I was demonstrating my energy level.
Okay.
That it was going to not match yours, so that I could also be the little sock puppet guy who's also very low energy. And I thought that would be a fun thing to try.
Okay.
For our more visual watchers, that I was going to be like, well, what does this low energy sock puppet guy look like?
Uh-huh.
And then I tried
Well,
that.
now you've answered that question, and how do you feel
Yes.
about it?
Like a C plus. Passing, baby. C's got degrees.
Big shout out to our delicious, fresh, never frozen sponsor, Factor, America's #1 ready-to-eat meal delivery service. Skip all the meal prep hassle. Head to factormeals.com/QQ50 and use code QQ50 to get 50% off your first box plus 20% off your next month.
So, Daniel, let's get on to the most important stuff. On to the meat. You're biking again.
Yes, I got on a bike. So longtime listeners know that I had a vaguely traumatic bike accident in 2019, December. I fell off my bike on the way to church in Los Angeles and broke my wrist pretty bad. There's a scar. There's a big chunk of, there's like a 12-inch piece of metal and 28 screws or so in my wrist. And I'd been on stationary bikes since then, but not gotten on like an actual physical bike that is powered by my movements. And part of it was just like, I was living in New York and didn't want to get on a bike because that's a scary place to get on a bike in general. And other parts of it was just like, I don't know, it slipped my mind. I didn't own a bike and wasn't thinking of getting one. And then the more time went by, the more time it was like, oh boy, the last time I got on a bike was when I got in an accident. And now it's been 2 years or 3 years. That certainly seems like I'm avoiding it, but I don't know that I ever was actually consciously avoiding it.
Right.
But
Just didn't come
we're
up.
finally at the... Yeah, it didn't come up, but the weather is wonderful here, and we're in a very bike-friendly town, so we decided to get bikes. And we first picked up some bikes from a friend of ours because we didn't know if we wanted to spend... Like, if I got on a bike and was just terrified, then that was going to be a wash, no reason to spend money. So we had like a trial run of getting bikes. And as soon as I got the bikes home to my apartment, and I had my new helmet that I bought on the way to get the bikes, and I was just going to put air in the tires and then ride the bike to the bike rack in the parking lot. And I was like, let me ride it to the bike rack and let me ride around the parking lot. I don't want Shay to see me just yet. Let me just do this just to see if I can get on it. And within seconds I was like, this is very easy. I have no trauma memories associated with this whatsoever. Riding a bike is easy. I rule at this. And then it was time to stop, and instead of braking like a normal person, I swung my right leg over the bike so I could have two legs on one side and like run alongside the bike for a little bit as like in my imagination, a cool way to stop.
Yeah.
And I fell and ate shit immediately doing that stupid trick. Didn't hurt. I was totally fine. But as I was falling in the parking lot, knowing my helmet was in the car, I thought, if this was a worse accident and I died, who would even come to my funeral?
They found out. She wouldn't be allowed to say. She would have to make something up.
Yeah. And like,
He went to war.
yeah. and we would never know how stupid I was, because like the police would show up and like, this just doesn't make any sense. Why would he get on a bike with his helmet in the car? Why would he crash at the bike rack? I don't understand. Something must have happened.
Yeah, the same way you've got the bullet trajectory detective there, but there's like a bike trajectory detective, and they're like, okay, I'm from like the way that this bike fell. It's clear that he jumped off of the bike while it was moving.
Right, no one falls off a bike this way. He has two legs crushed on one side under the bike, so I think someone killed him and staged it poorly to make it look like an impossible bike accident.
He has gotten the outside calf of his right leg tangled in the bike chain.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, Daniel, I just listened to the story. I'm thinking in my head that I'm jealous that you exercise a real degree of patience with yourself that I don't possess, and I like that. I wish that I had more of that. You were going to get the bike and you were like, and now let's just take it in steps. I don't know how I'm going to respond. Maybe I'll respond. I don't think I'm going to respond in a different way, but I want to give myself the space to freak out if that happens. And so I'm going to just ride the bike 15 feet. Like, none of that would have ever occurred to me. I would have been like, you get back on that bike, you fucking baby. Get back on that. What? You think something's going to go wrong? It's only going to go wrong if you stay off the bike. Like, I would be so cruel to myself just in my own head.
Well, if it makes you feel any better, I went 6 years without riding a bike, and then in the span of a weekend, rode about 28 miles.
Jesus.
Like, it was there was like the very quick, let me learn how to ride a bike again on Friday. And then we did a 9-mile round trip that night, and then a few more miles on that Saturday. And with 2 days of biking under my belt, I was like, I'm ready to bike again. And we bought bikes Sunday morning, and then did another 12 or 13 miles or so on Sunday with our new bikes.
Here, okay. Biking's one of those things like going to wine country that I just think is probably not for me. I bike as a way to get from A to B. I like that. I like using it as a tool. And I take it, like, I'll ride it to the gym. I'll take my kids on it if like I had nothing else to do with them and we need to get outside. But in terms of, I've been on trips before. I've been to weddings and stuff where they're like, and the next day you guys can go biking. And we did that. And as I'm doing it, I'm thinking, I'm getting nothing from this.
Oh, well, we do the same. Like, everything was a destination. It was like, we're going to go to my brother's campsite because he was camping nearby. And then we went to a friend's house. We went to some restaurants. Like, it's all, I like it as a means of transportation and getting somewhere. I think if I'm going to do an exercise that gets me nowhere, I'm going to run every day of the week, 100% of the time.
Yes.
But you do bike, because I do, the thing that I've learned, I'm either biking wrong or I need to get a new something for it, because my tailbone has been in tremendous pain every day, all the time.
Oh.
And I think maybe I'm not supposed to sit on the bike the whole time. Maybe I'm supposed to have my ass up in the air, or maybe I'm supposed to get those stupid shorts that have a little butt cushion built into it.
Okay.
Or maybe I need a better seat. I mean, it's a brand new bike with a normal seat. I can't imagine that bikes are designed with like intentional obsolescence, that as soon as you get it, the seat needs to be replaced for the more comfortable seat. So it must be me doing something wrong?
No, it's not. So you biked 9 miles on your first day, and you hadn't been on a bike in like 3 years. So it's not a brand new bike. It's a brand new you. Like, your body is not designed to be on a bicycle because it hasn't done it in so long. Like, you spend a little bit of time off a bike and then you get on it. Weird things start happening where, like, I get like a weird, like, weird, like, after being on a bike, numbness in my taint. Because that's the part that's like straddling the front of that bike seat, and it's getting vibrated so much that eventually at the end it's just like humming on its own. And I'm like, I don't like this. And then also, I know what you mean, like that tailbone thing, is that your body's just not used to it. You basically, I don't want to call it a callus, but like you build up some sort of tolerance to that from biking over and over again, and then it's not an issue anymore.
If you're wrong about that, I might paralyze myself, because I really just feel like I'm sitting right on the bone and wearing it down. I don't know that I'm...
When you're going over bumps and stuff, is it hurting?
I mean, at this point, after the initial 9 miles, getting on the bike hurts. Just like getting into position hurts. And sometimes just like sitting on the hard ground now hurts.
Okay.
I'm sitting on a pillow at the moment.
Okay. So it's possible. Wait, is this like a fixie? Like, do you only have one speed on this bike, or is it a bunch of different speeds?
I think I have 21 speeds on this bike.
Okay, so your positioning on like a fixie, like a townie bike, like you're pretty far back. Like you're just like the handlebars are so high and everything. It puts you in a position where you basically have a straight back, and and you look a little silly on those bikes. On a mountain bike or a bike that's like a road bike, you're more inclined. You're like leaning forward more. And that should protect, as long as you're not like sitting straight up on it and you're kind of like leaning forward. I don't even think your tailbone should really be touching it.
I think I've diagnosed the problem. I'm sitting perfectly straight up the entire time that I'm biking. And I think possibly that's the wrong move. That's why I was asking about, like, do I need to just hover over the bike seat the entire time?
No, because you'll cash your legs out immediately if you try to do that.
Yeah.
Here's my suggestion. If you still want to keep sitting straight up, that's fine. But scoot your butt back on the seat so the tailbone is not on the seat anymore.
Yeah.
So you're like your butthole's doing all the lift, like the heavy lifting on the seat. And then it's not even touching. That might help. But that is a surprise to me that it's like you can't even sit down in a chair right now.
I mean, I figured it was because I was doing something wrong. No one is supposed to have this much pain from riding a bike a week out still.
Yeah. You're with me though that people suggest bike riding is like a great way to see a city, as like, or a countryside or a beach or whatever, and like you just ride along it. I get nothing from that experience because I want to focus on the bike. If I'm on a bike, I'm going to be focusing on that. I'm not going to be like leisurely riding and looking off to the sides because I hate that type of person. I know that type of person meanders and like is going to be a problem in the street. So I want to ride the bike.
I agree with you. We're on the same page in that. I have a runner's mentality with it, where we went to go visit my brother and sister-in-law and their kids at their campsite, and then we were riding back at dusk. It's a very pretty ride. Sun is setting. Everything is nice. And I am booking it. My fiance is like looking at things and stopping and taking pictures and like being present. And I'm just a quarter mile ahead of her, just thinking like, the faster we go, the faster we get home and we're done with this part of the workout.
It's the transportation part. It's not, just like they always say, it's not about the journey. It's about the destination. Everyone says that.
Everyone says that.
I am the same way with driving. I'm the same way with walking, like hiking. I'm the same way. It's part of the reason like I'm done with a fucking hike a mile before I'm done, because on a hike, people are like, they're hiking and looking around, and I'm like, watch the trail. That's the important part. Get up and down the trail. If you want at the end, we're going to be at a waterfall or something like that, then we can kind of look around and stuff. But this is not the fun part. This is the part where we get through it, and then we get to the fun.
When my brother and I did the Pemigewasset Loop up in the Northeast, it was like 32 miles, and it's depending on how many offshoots you do, it's between 9 and 11 summits. You're going like up and down. It's a lot. Some lunatics do it like in one day. They can like run it and gun it and go like silly people. Our plan initially was to do like a very leisurely, let's do this in 3 days and not put on too many miles and like get a lot of the views in. And like, if you're going to be doing these summits, you're at the top of these mountains, sit and look and appreciate it. And then the first night, as we sat down to camp, having done 14 or 15 miles, we're both like, I think we can knock this out in 2 days. I don't think we need the third night. I think we just, if we just like close our eyes, we can really sprint through this majestic place.
There's a couple of peaks like that are ranges in Colorado where it's like you've got a couple of 13,000 foot peaks in a row or whatever, 12, and you can bag them all at once because you're just walking along the ridge. And the plan that my friend and I had was like we were going to get to the last ridge at sunrise, and it was the highest of them. And it couldn't have been a better idea for us because we're doing the first two in the dark. And I was like, this is how it should be done. We got to the top of this one. Now it's on to the next one.
It's the summer, and as our listeners know, we are planning a wedding for the fall, which means we have lots of decisions to make. We have to decide on flowers, we have to decide on guest lists, we have to decide on table sitting, we have to decide on absolutely everything. That's a lot of decisions to make, and I am so glad that what we're going to have for dinner is not one of those decisions that we have to make. Thanks to Factor and their fresh, never frozen meals, which are dietitian approved and ready to eat in just 2 minutes. So not only do I not have to decide, I don't have to cook it that long either. So no matter how busy you are, you'll always have time to enjoy a nutritious, great tasting meal thanks to Factor. Food is great because it comes from chef-crafted meals with options like Calorie Smart, Protein Plus, and Keto. I have strange dietary restrictions where I can't have red meat, dairy, or eggs, but I'm not quite vegan, and Factor works around that and caters their food to my specific needs. Enjoy effortless support for your lifestyle. Choose from 6 menu preferences to help you manage calories, maximize protein intake, avoid meat, or simply eat well balanced. Head to factormeals.com/QQ50 and use code QQ50 and get 50% off your first box plus 20% off your next month. With 35 different meals and more than 60 add-ons to choose from every week, you'll always have new flavors to explore. Keep kitchen time to a minimum. Factor meals are ready in 2 minutes. That's cooking in 2 minutes. And then you don't have to clean. No shopping, prepping, cooking, or cleaning up. It's the best. Head to factormeals.com/QQ50 and use code QQ50 to get 50% off your first box plus 20% off your next month. That's code QQ50 at factormeals.com/QQ50 to get 50% off your first box plus 20% off your next month while your subscription is active. Do it! Speaking of stubbornly doing impossible things, Soren, I got a quick question for you if you're ready to get into the show.
Shoot!
What is something bold or audacious that you've never done before that you're pretty confident you could do? And we've talked about this in the past in terms of like jobs, a job that you could fake your way through. But this is like a more specific thing. And I'm going to tell you my way into it, how this occurred to me, that I was having a lovely Sunday with my fiance. The weather was perfect. It wasn't too hot, wasn't too cold. We were outside at the water on a dock. There was like a tiki bar near us. There was a guy outside playing guitar and singing a little dream of me. And as the sun is going down, there's the river, there's boats going by, there's like literal, I'm not making this up, literal swans, a pair of swans are swimming by as we're just sitting here taking all of this in.
Did their heads make a little heart together?
They did not.
Oh, okay.
They hissed like the horrible goblins they are while they were incredibly violent underwater, which is what all swans are doing at all times. But we're there and enjoying this perfect day. And Shay is asking me, what's on your mind? She's like, so what are you thinking about right now? And I was like, it's dumb. She's like, no, what are you thinking about? What's on your mind? I said, I'm pretty sure if I needed to, I could fly a helicopter.
Yeah.
She was like,
yeah.
What? And I was like, not just like in an emergency situation, if I needed to get you out of somewhere, I could totally fly a fucking helicopter. I could like. She's like, "What are you talking about?" I was like, well, I don't think
I could just do it.
I don't think I could do a boat right now, or I don't think I could take us away on a plane. Certainly, I couldn't do a plane. But if like we needed to flee and there was a helicopter, I bet I could do it.
You could take it off.
That's what you're thinking? And I was like, yes, that is exactly what I was thinking. And I thought, this thought is, it shouldn't just exist to ruin this romantic day. It should also become fodder for the podcast. So I was wondering what you thought.
It's so funny. As soon as you said, what is something completely audacious that you think you could do? My first thought was, I could land a plane. Like, I could do it. I think you're getting a lot of help. Like, you're getting a lot of feedback from ground control or what, I don't know what they call it. That's what they call it when it's not space. But like, I can. You got one thing to worry about. Like and they're gonna be like, you're coming in too hot. No, you're flat. You're flat. Like, you just find that right space. I feel like I could do that fairly easily. But I have another one that I think I'm even more confident that I could do, and that is deliver a baby.
Wow.
Yeah.
I also had like vague doctor stuff on my list.
Really?
Because you have so many helpers around. And I thought like the Catch Me If You Can scene where he just needs to like actually be a doctor and do a thing, there's part of me that is like, someone is going to come up with a little tray that has all the tools that I'm supposed to need for this appendectomy. And I could probably figure it out.
If you're in a hospital scenario, then it's a piece of cake because you know how to ask the right question without it seeming like you don't know the answer. That's like a skill set that you have.
Yeah.
And so you're going to have other people there that are like residents who are there with you, guaranteed, or you're going to even have nurses who are like interested. And you're going to be like, what should I do first? Like you're testing them, basically. And they're like, okay, well, first I would make the incision. And you're like, bingo.
Yeah.
And I'm going to do it right here. And they're like, this is a diabetes foot. I don't think you should cut up. I don't think you should start at the abdomen. And you're like, gotcha. Okay.
We're just going to go like fully from top to bottom, from head to toe. Yeah. I wanted to see everything.
But I think even like in a home scenario or in a car scenario, I could deliver a baby. And I'm so certain of it that when my wife almost gave birth in our house, I was like, fucking here we go.
Yeah.
I've got this.
You just walk over and pretend to call the hospital like, they're busy. It's crazy.
They weren't answering. I just got the message machine. I don't know.
They said they're closed. What should we do? Should I just do it? Should you just call me doctor?
There is strategy to it. Like there's a way to do it. You have to know when they're in active labor, first of all. That's a big deal. But also like within the pushing and the contractions, when you start to see head, there's certain places where you're supposed to put pressure so that nothing tears. And then there's a way once the head starts to come out that you have to twist the baby because one shoulder has to come out at a time and it has to come out in a very particular way. I read about it in a Mayo Clinic book when my wife was first pregnant because I did everything when my wife was first pregnant. Not for her. That doesn't mean like I was busy.
Not everything, Soren.
I did everything that was conceivable for me to have done to prepare for this baby because I had no calibration for what was a threat and what wasn't. So I was like doing it all. And that's generally how I live my life. Like when I don't understand a thing, I'm going to get it all done. And so I read that thing from tip to tail, and I was like certain and like practicing. Like I think I could deliver a baby. I've read enough about it. And to this day, like that stuff is still in my brain, and I'm pretty confident in a car or something like that. I would be like, I could do this.
Yeah.
Which is honestly how you have to go into it when you're delivering a baby. Like you gotta go in thinking you can.
I think most doctors who deliver babies are probably in the same boat where they're like, oh, fuck. Okay, I can do this. I've seen this before. I got this.
You got to believe in yourself. That's the first step to delivering a child. They tell you that in OBGYN school.
My thought process for the helicopter was they, meaning the designers of helicopters, they don't want this to be difficult to operate. I don't think there's like tremendous benefit in making this hard. And I think part of my confidence was like flying helicopters is like plenty of people do it for their jobs, but it's also famously like a wealthy person's pursuit. It's like Harrison Ford, who has more money than God, who's just like, I'm into helicopters, so I want to learn helicopters. There are so many millionaires and billionaires who just like add that to their list of things that they could do. And that tells me it's probably not hard. It's just the barrier to entry is the time and money factor for learning. And so I think, again, this is based on nothing. I think because I've decided that it's going to have a pretty intuitive design and functionality, I can just give me a couple of seconds and I'll look at the buttons that look like start the thing. And then I know you've got this like joystick that is you're moving the guy around. And like how
You've been in an arcade.
It's not a plane. There aren't like flaps. There aren't multiple engines and little like things that I need to raise or lower. The propeller goes and then I make the helicopter move around and I feel the wind and I just fucking cruise.
I honestly think once you get off the ground, you're golden. Like I think
you're
so
right.
Too. I think so. Yeah, the pros of this obviously are you're not worrying about wheels going up and down. You just got those runners on the bottom, and you get as soon as you get a little bit of lift, you're good, man. I feel like you. I believe in you. My one concern is that there are so many switches in a. I'm just thinking of like in Succession when they accidentally start a helicopter, and like there are all kinds of like over their heads. There's like you're not just working on one plane where it's like a dashboard. Like there's stuff above you got to be fiddling with. And
I know I'll figure it out though.
But I'm just concerned that there's like gonna be you're gonna get in there and you're gonna be like, well, let's see what the buttons are labeled. RLC. Okay. Okay, that's not helpful.
I watched a YouTube video once of a guy who was like an incredibly good helicopter pilot with one other person in his whirlybird, and they lost power. They lost something. They were going down, and the pilot knew they needed to make an emergency landing. And he was like, he's exactly what you want him to be. He is the calmest guy in the world. And he's just like, okay, we're falling now. We've lost our engine. So we're going to, and they're like going into a canyon. So he's like, what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to try to land over there. Do you see that? And he's pointing to like yards and yards away, like a very far away place. But he's like, I'm going to go land there because I can't land over there because that water might be too deep and those might be rocks. And if we land on this thing, then that's going to fuck up this thing. That's going to screw this up. And the guy in the passenger seat of the chopper is like, I trust you. I can tell that I am with the best person in the world to be doing this. And the pilot is every step of the way describing what he's doing and then landing perfectly on this like chunk of sand inside this canyon. And I'm watching this video with a mental checklist of like, yep, that's what I do too. Yeah. No, you don't want to land on the rocks. Obviously can't land on the rocks. Nah, water is dumb. Yeah, sand. Probably sand for me too. Probably I do on the soft sand, and I would be confident and comfortable, and I would not make it too rocky when I landed because you don't want to make anyone sick or anything. But yep. Everything this guy does, that checks out. That's what I see. My move
not on
too.
the side of the helicopter. That was a good choice. Not to land on sideways. That was nice.
So, some guys probably would have tried to turn around. Not me and this guy, though. We know how to land a helicopter.
The part that scares me about it is that you're not just working with one propeller. You've got your Y-axis propeller on the back, that little tiny one that I've seen stuff happen in movies where like that one gets out of control and it starts whipping you around, and I don't know how to get out of that.
I wouldn't let that happen.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah,
that's probably best. I'm gonna let it happen a little because how am I gonna learn otherwise? But I think what I like thinking about, Daniel, is that you could get off the ground. I believe that you could get off the ground in a helicopter. Then when you're flying and you've got it figured out and you're dealing with wind currents and you've got that all handled, I like thinking about when you have to land the helicopter and like what you're going to say to Shay. Because are you going to be like, listen, we don't know how this is going to, like, it's fun. It's fun. We're having a good time right now. We're going to have to land. I love you. Oh, this may be the last we'll see each other.
I think so. I have thought about this also because landing is definitely the in my opinion, the hardest part of flying a helicopter. It's got to be landing it. And so in this scenario, I've taken us away from whatever disaster we're fleeing, and I'm prepping her for
Hanoi.
How we're going to exit this helicopter, which is we're going to go over some safe water, and I'm going to get the helicopter to a nice, like, chill hover zone, and then she's going to open her door and jump out of the helicopter while it's still
I don't know if that's
floating.
a good idea.
Because, like, this isn't, you understand, I stole this helicopter. It's not mine. I'm not worried about, like, having it forever. I don't know where the fuel goes. So this is a one-trip thing for us, and she's going to jump out, and, like, that's great. And then I'm going to just like leave it running a little bit, and then I'm also going to dip out and just jump, and the helicopter will like I like either just, I don't know, stop dead in the air and drop on top of us, or like continue forward or continue up. Who knows? Maybe I'll have the foresight to bring like a brick with me, and the brick I'll put on like the gas pedal just as I'm about to jump out of the helicopter.
I don't think there's a gas pedal. I think you guys are going to get chopped in half if you try to do that. I think you got to try
No,
to
I'm going to
land
say,
it.
I'm gonna say duck low. I'm gonna say like
Oh, that's a good idea.
yeah, avoid the fan.
Keep your head down. That's the way you survive that.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a much further jump than you think, and I don't know that the helicopter hovers without somebody in it. That would be cool though, to like just come across a helicopter and be like, oh shit, nobody's in this one. If I could just find a way up in, I could take it, and then I don't have to worry about the taking off part. And then everyone could just communal helicopters. No one has to worry about taking off or landing because they're all just hovering around.
This is a win-win-win.
Okay. I get the thought process. I get that you think you could just like bail, like a car going off a cliff, like you could just tumble out.
Yeah.
But like getting in, you're escaping some sort of bad situation, which is like in my mind, I'm assuming it's the fall of Saigon, right? It's that's the only time I've seen a helicopter in a bad situation that needs to lose something in real life, and you're dealing with that too. So whatever the problem is right there. If it's a forest fire, it's creating a lot of crazy wind. If it's people, they're going to be grabbing on.
Yeah,
that's the part that's really tough in my mind in terms of like getting away from. You're getting shot at. I don't know what it is.
No, in my head, it's natural disaster. It's
Okay.
fire, or it's like there is maybe tsunami coming. Not like a huge storm, because I don't think I could. I know I could fly a helicopter. I don't think I could fly it in the rain.
Yeah.
Or like big winds.
Oh, right.
But like
The
things
rain.
falling apart in the earth, and was like, I need to. This is John Cusack, Roland Emmerich's 2012. The things are just like falling, and I have access to a helicopter, so let me get in that and take it away somewhere else.
Yeah.
And it's daytime, like it was in that movie, so it's good. 'Cause
Yeah,
I
yeah,
can't.
yeah.
I also. Oh, that's
You wanna be
crucial.
able to see.
I can't fly at night.
I can't fly that. Yeah. That's how I feel when I'm actually in a plane, in a jet, and it's cloudy, and we're gonna land, and we're like in a cloud for a little bit. I'm like, it's good that this isn't the time that I'm landing it.
Yeah,
because
yeah.
I don't know how to do this part. This is scary.
Yeah.
Nobody can see anything.
No. And it would be rude for them to make you land the plane that way.
It's awful. Yeah. No, on my first try.
Yeah, no. Don't let anyone bully you into landing a plane in clouds.
I'm not going to do it. Same delivering a baby. I don't do it on cloudy days.
No, of course not, because you can't see anything.
Yeah. I mean, I don't want to do it in the rain, certainly. She's in a car, and she's like, I'm a gentleman. I will give her the back seat. But I'm going to try and get my head underneath the roof, because I don't want to be out there in the cold and rain when I'm trying to deliver a baby. You don't want me sick for this job. I'm the hero.
No.
I'm the one who's going to save the day.
Yeah.
All right. I believe in you. I think you could fly a helicopter if you needed to. I don't know
Thank
that
you.
could.
I have no further elaboration on this, but I also think I could probably do like some light dental work. I've been to I've been to the dentist enough times that I'm just like, if they call me in,
You're the hygienist?
because I'm really close with my hygienist at this point. That if she's like, listen, I have to take a phone call. This next kid is super easy,
You're close
normal
with
amount
it.
of teeth. Just could you take care of this one for me? I'd be like, Judy, of course I can.
Yeah.
Take your phone call. Take 2 phone calls. Live your fucking life.
You're-
Give me that horrible spiky hook and take your shoes off. I've got the rest of this.
You're ready for your dentist ride along.
Yeah, 100%.
Like she'll give you the easy ones. I think that hygienist stuff is like, yeah, I could scratch at somebody's teeth for a little bit. And
Yeah.
I'm sure that if I've flossed my kids, so I've been inside somebody else's mouth. Like I've taken a little look around in there. And you can see where food is, and you get a mirror. Like you get that little mirror to help in the hard to reach places. And if it's going bad, you just got to shake your head and be like, you got to floss. Like even if you're fucking up, like you're like stabbing them in the gums with that spike, and you're like, oh,
right.
You got to floss.
Every
And they'll be
dentist
like, yeah,
ever
dude.
has punctured my gums and been like, you know what, this never would have
that was
happened
you.
if you'd flossed.
That
And I
was your
like,
fault.
I think that's part of it. Dentist, I think
Yeah, they never go, ooh, whoops.
I'm a big enough man to admit my role in this. Now, you, please.
Your dentist is just gaslighting you all 45 minutes that you're in that chair. They're like, anytime they hurt you, they're like, you made me do this.
Right. Man, once again, I crushed this. I absolutely nailed this 100%. And the fact that you're spitting up blood,
That's your fault.
Is carelessness on your part. Now, excuse me, I'm going to deposit this jagged hook somewhere out of sight.
And always, whenever that thing is in my mouth, it's like, I mean, let's be honest, you're scratching bone with metal. I'm like, there's got to be a better way. I can feel them in there like scratching. I'm like, this feels irreparable. I can tell you're doing damage to the tooth by scratching it with this metal thing.
Right. And I just don't trust that, not just my dentist, but like that anyone is as accurate as this tool needs you to be. Like, you're trying to get in between teeth with a single metal hook, and like some of my teeth are a little small. I'm not too embarrassed about that. And you've got such a small window of mouth, just like, let me just get this hook in there. There's no way every dentist nails it 100% of the time. You're gonna slip. No one's hands are that steady. Yeah,
and it's tooth. And then around it is the most sensitive part of your body, this fleshy, vulnerable, sensitive part of your body. And you've got a big, like a hooked knife in there. Like, you're gonna get it. You're gonna get that gums and be like, it didn't go great. I'll get the next one.
A mouth that's like constantly moving a little bit, like you're breathing, or you're trying to swallow things, or you might like wince if you get stabbed.
And not to mention that big wriggling muscle in the middle of it that's constantly getting in the way. And I don't know what to do with my tongue. I'm trying to be accommodating as much as I can. I'm trying to swallow it if I could. Yeah. But like, I know that it's in the fucking way sometimes.
Yeah. And they will tell me, they're like, could you move your tongue? I was like, normally, yeah, but for some reason in this context, no.
Yeah, now that I'm thinking about it, no. It doesn't, it's gone off leash. I don't know, I can't control it anymore.
Doc, I'm telling you, when you're not here, I could do like shapes with it and stuff, but right now, it's panicking. And it's gone completely rogue.
All right, I got a question for you, Daniel.
Go for it.
It's going to be a quick one.
Okay. It's got to be really engaging because there's so much stuff for me to play with around me right now.
I think that was smart.
I'm going to lose focus.
Okay. Honestly, I think it was smart of you to have something to fidget with, because I think you're a better listener when you've got something.
Mm-hmm.
What is your dog's night schedule? Like, what time do you have to wake up for your dog?
I wake up every day at 6 o'clock in the morning. I don't necessarily need to get him out at 6 a.m. If I'm up and I'm like ready for the day, then I will go and take him out. And he really, at this age, it kind of varies. If it's been a late night and I don't get up until 9, he will roll with that. He is not gonna be like whining or scratching at the door. He's just, he's got himself under control at this point. He's a good old thing, and he knows that it's morning time. And sometimes I'll get up at like 5:45 because I have to pee, and I'll walk out of my bedroom and he'll see me and he'll get out of his bed and I'll say, no, it's not time yet, and then he'll go right back to his bed, and then I'll come out a little bit later and actually take him out.
So he, at no point in your life with him, did he dictate your sleep schedule?
No. Maybe, no, I don't think he did. I think sometimes my parents watch him and they sleep in a whole lot more than I do. And they have told me that sometimes they'll hear him like padding around outside of their bedroom door and making a few noises. But that's about it. He's generally aware that I'm going to reliably take him out in morning time, and morning time varies between like 6 and 8:30 or 9.
And he's not picky.
At the latest. No.
I want that. I assumed you would be in the same boat that I was. I assumed every pet owner was like, you're getting woken up in the morning by your animal because they're like, if it's a dog, it's like, listen, dude, I've been holding it for a while and I gotta pee. You gotta get me outside. But let me give you my scenario. I have a cat, and it's a cat that's an indoor
So
outdoor
you say.
cat. It's an indoor outdoor cat, which means that during the day, it goes off to a job or something. I don't know what it's doing. It's leaving in the morning because it's got business, and then it comes back in the evening. And sometimes in the middle of the day, it'll come home for lunch or whatever. But this cat is constantly trying to push the limits of when it's allowed to go outside. And I'm not going to let it out any earlier than dawn because I'm worried about coyotes, and I don't want it getting eaten in the middle of the night or scooped up. Because this cat also refuses to wear a collar, has lost like 16 collars, and so I don't want someone to come in like, a stray, and taking it home. So I've got a window where I'm willing to let this cat outside, and it's a little earlier in the summer than it is in the winter, but this fucking cat pushes it all the time, where if I'm letting this cat out at 5 in the morning, it's going to be like, well, what about 4:30 today? Could you let me out at 4:30 today? And I'm like, all right, I'll do 4:30 today. And then the next day it's like, what about 3:30? And I'm like, no, that's like a whole hour. No. And the way that the cat...
Do you let it out at night before bed, or is it just when it comes back, it's outside time is done?
At night, too. This cat knows to be back in around 11. Like, it's gonna come. I guarantee, with like clockwork, it's good at knowing that schedule. It knows that it needs to be back around a certain time because that's when we're going to bed. But getting up in the morning, it's going to fucking test me every single day. And my wife, too. And it loves my wife a lot more because she gives a lot more attention. So it's really like on her a lot of times in the morning where the cat will come up and sit on her face or whatever. And cats are just dickheads. So like this cat doesn't meow, which is great. That's going to go in the pro category, or in the pro list. But this cat will slam our bedroom door. We'll shut our bedroom door as hard as it can so that it makes noise. And then it knows that when it's shut, it has like a little bit of movement to it. It'll just move the door so that it goes rattles on the hinges. And we'll scratch at the door from the inside and move it. So just trying to make as much noise as possible so that we will get up. So I was like, I'm not going to cave to this cat. This has happened 2 nights ago. I was like, I'm not going to cave to this cat because it's getting up at 3 in the morning. And it's like, I want to go out. And I'm like, we're not doing that. I don't want you to die. It would be a problem with neighbors if I had to explain that. So I'm going to, instead, I'm going to do everything I can to keep you from moving this door. So like I get the cat out of the room. Also the cat, as soon as I get up to put it out, will hide underneath the bed so that I can't reach it. Like
Cats are trash.
Yeah. And then if I try to like go to the other side of the bed, it will move over just to the other side, just out of reach. So I'll be like, no, I want her to do it. The other one, make her do it. And if I get a hold of this cat, like it's not happy about it. And will like make these noises as it's trying to bite me. And I get up in the morning. This cat's up at 3. I grab it and put it outside the room. And then I shut the door. And then I put a 12-pound weight on the other side of the door just to like keep the door from rattling and the hinges like up against it. But then the cat's like getting a hand up underneath the door and like just scratching the door, just making noise on the door. So I was like, okay. I go back outside the room, and now my plan, like now that I'm up and now that I'm like, my brain is working and everything, I'm thinking this cat is making me miserable. My only goal here is to also make this cat miserable during this time. Whatever plan it has, I'm going to thwart it. So I go outside, I get big pillows and put them up against the door on the other side so that the cat can't get it up to the door. Like tall pillows. And then I put the weight down and I'm like, solved. Did it. The cat.
That's
go ahead.
So much. You're doing so much to prove that the cat does not control you.
Yeah, I'm trying to dominate the cat. I'm like, I'm going to win. That's all I'm in my brain is I'm going to win. And the problem is that cats are also they're wired that way. The cat is like, no, I'm going to win. And so I go back to sleep for like 15 minutes and then there's rattling at the door again. I'm like, how? And so I open the door. I don't know how the cat did this. The cat has pulled the pillows away from the door to rattle it. I don't know if she bit it and dragged him away or what, but like big pillows dragged him away like prey and
Yeah.
and then like started rattling the door again. So I was like, that's it. I open the door again. Cat comes running in, gets underneath the bed. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna kill this cat. So like, I find the cat. I finally get a hold of it and get it out the door, and I go get a spray bottle from downstairs. And I shut the door again, put the pillows up, shut the door again, put the weight down. And I'm like, okay, if this happens again, I'm just going to make this cat miserable. And if it pulls him away again and I see it doing it again, I reach underneath the door with the spray bottle and give it a little spray on the legs. Like when you're you're the hero in a gunfight ducks underneath a car and shoots the bad guy in the leg. You're like, yeah, that was a good move. Mm-hmm. And so cat does the same thing again. And so I get under there and I give it a little spray. By the way, let me explain that my cat does not need to pee, doesn't need anything. It doesn't need anything. It's got a litter box inside. It's got food. It can play all it wants. We got toys in the downstairs. It just wants us to be awake. Like wants us to be awake and kind of wants to go outside, but more or less just wants us awake. So I spray it and it does not like that. It freaks out.
No, of course.
And then I sit there and wait. I don't get back in bed. I just sit there and wait because I'm like, she's gonna try it again.
Because you're in charge, right?
I'm in charge. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna in 2.5 hours. I'm gonna get some sleep. And so I'm like waiting. And I'm just lying on the floor in my room at 3:45 in the morning with the spray bottle, waiting. And I can see the movement out there. And eventually she comes back. And she puts a paw under the door, and I get that paw now, because now the paw's underneath the door, and I spray the paw. Ooh, did not like that at all. And honestly, from that point on, cat didn't bother us till like 7:15 in the morning.
That's great.
I won.
As you're
Dan.
as you're describing this whole elaborate setup of weights and pillows, it does remind me that like we don't want Jackson on the couch ever, because it's a nice couch that we like. And it's very easy to keep him off the couch when we're in the living room and sitting on the couch, but we also want to make sure he doesn't go in there when we're away or when we're sleeping. So we will push the coffee table up against the couch to make it difficult for him to jump over it and get on it. We move pillows around because he likes to get not just on a couch, but like on top of pillows on the couch. We'll move those around, and we'll put like our laptop, like the little wooden thing that you rest a computer on your lap.
The tray,
Put those on. Yeah, little trays and any other like hard things we can find to put on the couch that won't be comfortable for him to get on. And as we're doing this sometimes at like 11:45 at night, as I'm so tired, dragging a coffee table over and like setting up a bunch of mousetrap style obstacles that I'm going to have to undo first thing in the morning so I can sit on the couch when I read my book and drink my coffee. I was like, is this really so much better than having him sit on the couch? Is it possible that he's winning the larger game of making my life worse?
The problem with the cat is that's her stated goal. Like, she's not like she just likes to be somewhere a little bit better. Her stated goal is like, I'm just gonna annoy you for a little bit. I'm gonna fuck you up because that feels good to me.
Most irritating trait as he's gotten older is with food, because he used to be so reliable that you put food down and he is going to eat it all. Breakfast, dinner, unless he's very sick, he's going to gobble that food up. You can't have him in a house with a dog who has food out that is a grazer, because Jackson will eat his food and then eat the other dog's food as well. Now he has stopped being so reliable for the last month or so, and we've tried changing foods, and we've tried like obviously if we cook him chicken and rice, he's going to gobble that up because it's a home cooked meal for him. But in general, he wasn't eating his food, and I spent money at vets to try to figure out if there's something wrong with him. No, there's nothing wrong with him. But what's happened is he has found out that if he doesn't eat, we will stand over the bowl with him and be like, come on, buddy, come on, eat. And I'll like pick up his bowl and smell it and put it back down. And then he'll like sheepishly come over and like have a few bites of it. And then we're both like, good boy. Yes, so good. Eat more, please. And now like every fucking meal with this prick is just like a party. It's his birthday every day.
Yeah.
With his two favorite humans standing over him, telling him what a good job he's doing. He learned that pretty early on. It's like, oh, all I need to do to get attention is to just like not eat, and then they will celebrate me every time I eat to stay alive.
Yeah.
Asshole.
Yes. That is... We have that problem as well, where Colleen would feed the cat and then pet the cat while she ate. And now the cat won't do one without the other. So like I'll feed the cat, and the cat will come back into the kitchen or wherever and be like, but come on, come over and watch me. Come over and watch me and just give me some attention while I eat. And I'm like, no. And Colleen gets really frustrated by it now too, where she's like, she won't eat unless I pet her. And I'm like, yes, that's on you. That's your fault. You set the standard. The cat now thinks that that's what it gets. And it eventually the cat will learn that it has to eat without that if you just make it.
Yeah. There are so many mornings where we stand over him and cheer him on while he eats. And other mornings where it's like, Shay's going into the office, I'm going to the gym. I want this food gone by the time I get back. Goodbye. And then I'll go and I'll come back an hour later. And it's just still sitting in his bowl. And I'm just like, well, I can't let you die. I can't let you starve yourself to death.
Yeah.
Come on, buddy. Come on. Who's a good... Because you
let's
also,
work
like,
together.
if I'm frustrated, then he's definitely not going to eat. So I have to be like, I can't be like, eat your fucking food. I have to be like, ooh, this looks good. Who cares about what I was going to do right now?
Yeah.
But speaking of, are you sure it would be so bad if your cat got eaten by a coyote? I know that probably sounds cold.
No, it's I mean, I've definitely there in the morning when I'm super tired. I'm like putting her out, and it's too early for her to go out, but I'm just like not willing to deal with it. I'm thinking in my brain, this is on you. Like,
Yeah.
this is on you. If you get scooped up by a hawk out there or whatever, like this is on you.
Yeah.
I could let her out. The thing is, she doesn't even really want to go out that early. Out's just where I can put her that she won't bother us anymore. She just wants everybody else to be up, and she'll if she can't get to us, she'll go to the kids, and then I'm like, no, don't wake them up.
It's sort of similar, where it's not that he wants everyone awake, but the times that he will whine at the door in the morning is if we are awake and talking. If it's just the kind of morning where, like, we're both up at 6 and we're just like, let's just sit in bed and chat for a while and like plan our day and talk about how great it is that we don't have to get out of bed yet. If he hears us, then he's gonna whine because he wants to he wants to be part of it. He doesn't want to miss out on anything. And he's the same way. The other time he whines is if I get up and I take him for a walk and I come back and I give him his breakfast. If Shay is not out of the bedroom yet, he'll whine about that. He wants everyone in the living room together.
He wants to count everyone.
Yeah.
That's really adorable. That's
It
very
is.
sweet.
It's nice.
That he can't.
Yeah.
He gets worried when they're not all together. My cat counts. I know that my cat counts, and this is very charming. We have a frozen yogurt shop that's like 2 blocks from our house, and we go there, I would say, reliably about once a week. And if she sees everyone in the house leaving at once, if all 4 of us are accounted for, she will walk with us. Like, she'll go there with us, and then wait outside. Yeah, like kind of like hang out in the alley nearby and slink around, and then when we come back out, she'll come up and join us, and we'll all walk back. But if she senses that all 4 of us are going somewhere, she's like, well, then what? I'm coming.
Yeah. Yeah. What am I gonna do here?
And that's very charming. The only all of her charming characteristics are just dog characteristics. Like the things that I really like about her, I'm like, oh, that's a really sweet thing she does. Oh, that's what a dog would do. That's just the dog stuff. All the cat stuff, I'm like, I don't like this. I'm not a fan of this stuff. All right, let's end the show.
Okay.
So that little stretch that you do, Dan, at the end of an episode where you're like ready to hit the road at the end of a conversation. Yeah. My dad used to do that, and when my mom was nearby, he'd say, "Ready to go, old horse?" Like they're gonna pack up and leave, but he'd call her old horse, and it was, I mean, It sounds cruel, just objectively, but it was like
I'm sure it's
term
a
of
cute
endearment.
nickname. Yeah.
It was a term of endearment. It was so funny when I was a kid. All right. You've been listening to Quick Question with Soren and Daniel, but you already knew that. You can find Daniel and me on Blue Sky. Daniel might be back on X by this point. I don't know. He's DOB_Inc. if you want to go there. Quick question.
I dipped into Twitter to see if Twitter was being funny when the Trump indictments.
Yeah.
When the verdicts came out, and he was found guilty on 34 counts of whatever crimes he definitely did, and I went to go see if Twitter was gonna be fun about that. It just wasn't. It's just not. It's just not an enjoyable place to be.
It's really awful there. So if you're still sitting in the middle of that fire, you can still look at Quick Question there, which is QQ_Soren and Dan. You can go to Instagram, which I've heard is nice. I don't really know. QQ Soren and Daniel. We have a Patreon, which is Patreon/Quick Question. And we do bonus content there, including bonus video. And if you want to watch a video of this podcast, you can do it at YouTube, youtube.com/@QQpodcast. Big thanks to our sound engineer, our editor, our producer, the glue to the podcast, Gabe Harder. And don't try to find him. Goodbye.
Bye.
I've got a quick question for you, alright? I wanna hear your thoughts, I wanna know what's on your mind. I've got a quick question for you, alright? The answer's not important, I'm just glad that we could talk tonight. So what's your favourite? How did you get? When will I be remembered? Was it ever? Where did all the guys know? Oh, forget it. Soren, Bowie, Daniel O'Brien, two best friends and comedy writers. If there's an answer, they're gonna find it. I think you'll have a great time here. I think you'll have a great time here.